there was a reason the Raiders were willing to trade Maxx Crosby. Just keep that in mind because you cannot talk defense without talking about that one issue, right? Okay. He's not necessary for what the Raiders are trying to do defensively. That's really it. Scheme wise, he's not really necessary. Building wise, he's not really necessary. Now, I'm not saying he's not good. I'm saying he's not necessary. In other words, not really needed right now. The same reason why I don't think the Raiders are going to sign a Stephon Diggs or a Tyreek Hill. We're going for what's needed right now. It's a rebuild, right? And some things in a rebuild are just not really needed. And a 29-year-old Maxx Crosby is a luxury. But that being said, that's a luxury that I'm willing to have, and it's a luxury that Rob Ryan is willing to have. But I do have some questions about how well Maxx will fit into the new defensive scheme of 3-4. I do have some questions, but we'll see.
Yeah, okay, I can see that. I can see. I think you did say it is a luxury. I will agree. It is a luxury to have a Max in this defense on your defense. Now the question is, will he fit in this defense? Being that we're running a 3-4 base, I don't know, maybe 30% of the time, a third of the time,
right?
Probably 2/3 of the time would be in the nickel or dime or something like that.
That's it right there. That's it.
Yeah. So maybe Max will be able to thrive in those situations. I don't know so much about the 3-4 unless we game a lot, with the DN and the outside linebackers. Then
that is
do something like that.
And I've said it before. So a real quick explanation on that is that in a 3-4 defense, the role that Max plays will be on top of the guard and the tackle. He can't beat both of them consistently. So if you are going to be in a standard 3-4, that will backer is gonna have to do some action there to open up Max to get in those lanes. So that's all I mean by that. Now, Max is good against the run. We've seen it, but he's also 29 years old. So
yeah, I'm not concerned about him being 29. Yeah.
That's the thing though. What do you think?
I think he has maybe like 2 or 3 more peak years left.
Okay. I've always said this. Right now, I think Max is going to play for another 6 years because it's Max, right? Even when his entire body is giving up, Max is still crawling, making tackles with one finger because it's Max. But your body can only take you so far. And if Max wants to make the Hall of Fame, if he wants to be a Hall of Famer, I tell people he's not close yet. He's gonna have to put up at least 5 to 6 more solid seasons, including a couple of all-pro seasons in there. Now, does that body still have it, given that Max's play style is all about hustle and never getting out of the game? Here's the simplest way to put it. Muscle is still muscle. Bones are still bones. They get tired, they get weak, they break, they stretch. At some point, your body isn't going to be able to do 100% hustle every single game. But again, I say 6 years because Max is Max and he's still crazy, right? So he's still going to give you 6 years because he's Max, right?
Yeah, I think he's going to end up being the Raiders' all-time sack leader. You're right. He's going to need some all-pros. I mean, a Super Bowl will help. Right? So I understand the greatness. The Hall, there's a few that's in there. And speaking of the Hall, I'll be remiss if I don't mention, what are your thoughts about Jim Plunkett not being?
My man, the moment you said, speaking of the Hall, I'm like, oh, you better say Jim Plunkett. I'll put it this way. The thing against Jim Plunkett, for those who don't know, there is a thing against Jim Plunkett. That is, Jim Plunkett did not play at a high level for long enough as a quarterback. Because remember, like Rich Gannon, Jim Plunkett was a late bloomer. The number one reason why Kurt Warner, yes, him, also the same concept. Kurt Warner only played I think 7 seasons. The only reason Kurt Warner is in the Pro Bowl, Hall of Fame, and Rich Gannon is not, is because Kurt Warner won a Super Bowl. That's it. Because Gannon had everything, all MVP, everything. The only thing he didn't have was Super Bowl. Jim Plunkett has 2 Super Bowls. 2 of them. That's it. That's all I've got. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, I think they're probably gonna let him in, but it's one of those things where they gotta drag it out because they feel like he might not necessarily belong in there. But then it's hard to deny the 2 Super Bowls, and not only that, the 2 Super Bowls are with the iconic franchise. So, and then there's also they're doing that out of spite too because it's the Raiders.
Because it's the Raiders.
So.
Oh yes, because and the reason why I won't mention the doing it out of spite is that even if there were, I don't care anymore. That time is over. Give the man what he deserves, right? Jim Plunkett cannot be the only 2 Super Bowl winning quarterback that's not in the Hall of Fame. That doesn't even logically make sense if Kurt Warner is in the Hall of Fame. Kurt Warner has 1 Super Bowl, right? With the Rams, just 1, not 2. He went to 2 Super Bowls, but he got 1, right?
Yeah, I think he has 1 with the Rams. It's the greatest show on turf.
Jim Plunkett has 2.
Yes.
And Jim Plunkett is, I think, the only Hispanic quarterback to have 2 Super Bowls or any Super Bowl at all, right? NFL, Roger Goodell, get your people on it. These are facts that if you're going to get to the Hall of Fame, we need facts, right? Okay, fact number 1, 2 Super Bowls. Kurt Warner is in, he should get in. Fact number 2, we're talking about one of the only, if not the only Hispanic quarterback to have a Super Bowl. All of this things matter. Let's get the boy in the Hall of Fame and let's move on with it. The question is, are they going to get him in before he dies or are they going to get him in after? Which at this point, Raider Nation will love to see our greats get in before they pass on. We would love to see that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. We would love to see that. He deserves to be in. I think the Hall of Fame shouldn't. I don't think it's only numbers driven. It's the effect that you have on the league itself too.
Exactly.
And Jim Plunkett is an iconic player in this franchise. And that's not to say every iconic player in every franchise should be there, but if your franchise is iconic and they have an iconic player, then they should be in the Hall of Fame because they're a cornerstone of that franchise. Like you can't talk about the Raider franchise without talking about Jim Plunkett. And we don't look at the fact that he might have thrown more interceptions and touchdowns, or the record was whatever.
Brett Favre, I think Brett Favre threw more interceptions than touchdowns, or equal to. I think Brett Favre is like was 50-50 interception to touchdown ratio.
and that's not going to stop him. It didn't anyway.
It didn't stop him, yeah. And he only got 1 Super Bowl, right? Again.
Yeah.
Jim Plunkett's got 2.
Yeah. So get on it. We need to get Jim Plunkett in the Hall of Fame for sure. But